There is a question which is also a very frequently asked question recently about the documents from KCC. Before I read the question from Marietta Issa about the documents or the request of the documents or to answer when the interview will be, I want to answer overall the question of documentation. There are so many people up to now haven't received an email to request for the documents. They haven't received that email. So if they haven't received that email, usually they ask you a question. The question many people ask me is, when should I expect the email to send the documentation to KCC? And by documentation, we mean they request the passport, your passport, birth certificate, they request police clearance. If you have been to prison, that information. If you are married, the marriage certificate. So those are some of the, if you have been in the military, they want the military record. So there are those kind of information they need KCC. So when should I expect the email? I have filled my DSC-260 maybe since June or since October, whatever it is. There is a timeline where they are working on for people to be asking the documentations. That's number one. How do they request? They look for too many factors. Factor number one, people have to fill the DSC-260. So even if your case number is a small case number, let's say 0001, you don't feel, they don't ask the documentation because you don't want to process for the visa. So it is first come, first served, but also they are looking for the case number. For those who have applied, they fill the DSC-260, they are going to do that. But the bigger question is, will I be okay? Will it be possible for me to go ahead and send the documentation to KCC even if the KCC hasn't requested for the documents? I have two answers for that. Number one, don't send. Don't send the documents to KCC until they ask you to send the documents. Why am I saying that? There is a process. Now, there are two categories. This is a category of a group of people who KCC has sent request the documents. So they are in this pile. They are waiting. When the documents come, they match. If it's good, then they go for the next step of arranging for the visa. That's the first group. Another group will be, these are the people who will ask later about the documents. So if you send the document, you are not in this group, which the email have gone. They send the email, we are waiting for the documentation. If you send, you'll be in the pile. Their job is not to go to get your documents and to go to all the documentation to start finding you and match the documents. That is not their job because they haven't requested from you. That is number one. So don't send. When your time comes, the KCC will send the documents. They will ask you to send the documents. So even if you send the documents, the other question is, will it be any problem if I send the documents even if they don't ask? There is no problem. You can send the documents even without asking. But will that speed up your process? No. Because they will send the documents to be pending until your time comes. And your time comes, they can ask the documents again because this is the time we want your documents. So when you send the document without being asked, there is no penalty. There is no any punishment. But it doesn't any speed up anything on your side. So don't calculate that I've already sent my documents since October. Did they ask you? They count, they have received your documents. Once they send you the email that they request for the documents, that is the time they start counting that we are sending for the documents. But if you send the documents on your own, don't count why I've sent the documents since this time you haven't done anything, because you are in another pile which is not important. Once they receive the documents, then, depending on your case number, you'll be ready in the pipeline to be scheduled for the interview. So that I want to know, that you want to understand the process. Now let's go to the question from Mariette Issa. My case number is 2021 AS 11,000. document is sent to KCC on October 2020 as per request of KCC. So for this particular case, KCC requested the documents. Mariette didn't just send the documents on her own or on his own just because I want to send the document. They requested since October. But till now, no confirmation email. When do you expect my interview? I'm from Lebanon. Our embassy has already started doing interview for the DV lottery winners. So, because KCC has already requested since October, that's good. But remember, the AS 11,000, that case number became on the visa bulletin, go to the visa bulletin, that was in the month of when? It was in the month of almost March, April. That is when your case number became available on the, became current on the DSC, on the visa bulletin. So despite you are asking the document since October, but even if your interview, if it was a normal year without the suspension of the green card lottery or immigrant visa last year, that means your interview with that number could be in April or in May. But because they've requested that one and they have the documents, so your interview might be maybe in June or July. So when do you expect the second notification letter, which will be able to ask you or to give the information, the interview date? It will be probably, you will receive in the middle of May. In the middle of the May, they can send the email, or your interview now will be in July, this or whatever, or it will be end of June. So because there is 4 to 6 weeks window from the day they send you the email when it will be your interview. So expect the interview to be in end of June or mid of July. That is when you will be able to be interviewed based on the current trend of the interview.